Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to Marty Time TV. I am Marty Time. I am Marty Caswell, apparently off to a bad start since I can't even tell you my own name, but I'm happy to be here. I made it through the chaos of yesterday when I was over caffeinated and too stressed out. But man, the weekend is here. I couldn't be more excited. I'm excited to go ahead and go bike riding. We have gloomy skies right now. It's just nice to be home in San Diego and just a little bit of relaxing time. Padres and Astros this weekend. That's going to be a lot of fun. The 15-4 San Diego Padres and the 8-10 Houston Astros. Coming up on today's Marty Time TV, we're going to speak to one of my favorite people and Padres players of all times, and that would be Jeff Blum. He was a fantastic utility man with the Padres back in the day. Very versatile, very popular. He had, as he will probably tell you, he had a locker next to Khalil Green, but Geoff Blum was a glue guy. Now he's an analyst with the Houston Astros. So we will talk about this matchup. Astros, man, they trade a very popular player, one of the better players in Kyle Tucker. Alex Bregman he is gone as well. And that's a team that has won 5 straight division titles. Back in 2022, I thought the Padres and the Astros were going to meet together in the World Series to the point that Darren and I were going to stay in Jeff Blum's garage if that happened. But we will hear from Jeff Blum. We will also get a preview of the NBA playoffs with my former colleague and my friend Jonathan Rifkin, who always has something to say. We are brought to you by the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place. Speaking of the Padres and the Astros, and I'm sure this will be brought up a couple times, maybe in the UT or during the broadcast, the Padres will see their former closer, Josh Hader. And we know how Padres fans feel about Josh Hader because he didn't want to pitch in back-to-back games. He no more than 3 outs in a game. That became a point of consternation amongst the fan base. And of course, with some of the Padres players. I think Joe Musgrove was probably the most outspoken on that. But anyways, I want to go ahead and play with you some comments from Josh Hader coming up in just a second. Before I do, I went and got some errands done yesterday. I went to the post office. Stamps are now 73 cents, which shocked the hell out of me. So if you have errands to do, go to the post office. 73 cents for stamps. I know there are things that we don't do anymore. Go to the post office, the DMV, use public payphones. So as a public service announcement, I'm going to try and do more of that with you guys. Stamps, 73 cents. Okay, so last year when the Astros came to Petco Park, of course, we were waiting for Josh Hader. We had some questions to ask him as to, why things didn't work out with him in San Diego. This is what Josh Hader had to say last September. And I'm sure the Padres will see him. If you're a Padres fan, you're very happy with what you have right now. Robert Suarez has been nails. He fits in that clubhouse. He leads baseball with 8 saves. He hasn't allowed an earned run, but Josh Hader was pretty damn good too. I think right now 4 saves. He's allowed 1 run so far in his outings. But anyways, here is Josh Hader from last September. And maybe the Padres will see him, but the way they're playing, maybe they won't have to.
The way I think about it, I've always appreciated these fans, the way they showed up each and every day. Whatever outlook they have on me, they can have it, right? I think at the end of the day, we made great memories. We beat a team that a lot of people didn't think we would beat. We got really far in a division series. Obviously, we didn't go to the World Series like we wanted to, but, that's baseball. It's going to happen, but for me personally, I gave out all my effort. Obviously, a lot of people think in the 23 year where, I didn't go multiple innings, put a damper on their perspective on me and the hard work. But, at the end of the day, I put in everything I had and gave the team, every effort I could to put us in a position to make the playoffs. But, again, it's a team sport. So, at the end of the day, if they think it falls on me, that's just what it is.
Usage with the Astros has changed, though, from how you were used in San Diego. If you had a contract with the Padres, would it have been different for you?
Sure. Like I said, I think the biggest thing, even in spring training going into 23, they mentioned that they were looking to sign me to a deal and never gave me an offer. So at that time, I had to play the game, make sure that I was healthy, and I did everything I could to, be there and give multiple outings, 3 in a row. So, at the end of the day, I did what I could. put myself in the best way to stay healthy. And, like I said, Astros invested in me, so I invest in my health and, give everything because we're both at the same interest.
Was this something that you had made clear to the Padres when they first? I mean, was this AJ Preller was aware of this, right, when he first traded for you?
Yeah, everybody was aware. It wasn't a secret at all. It happened at the beginning of 2019 and or in 20. So everybody knew, the conditions of where it was at, and I think it got stirred up a little bit more in the media than anything else. So it is what it is at the time.
Like, I remember back in the day at the original Mighty. Okay, so that was former Padres reliever Josh Hader, whom the Padres may very well see this week, and I'm sure they're happy with the guy they have in Robert Suarez. But right now, I am so happy to welcome him to the show. One of my favorite people of all time. It was awesome covering him when he was with the Padres, meeting his wife Corey. They had their triplets when he was, I think, after he was traded from the Padres, which was so rude of Kevin Towers. Jeff Blum now with the Astros. He's the Astros analyst. Blummer, how the heck are you?
I'm fantastic, and any chance I get to talk with you, Marty, is always a good day. And I love that Interleague is happening so we can actually cross paths every once in a while. But obviously enjoyed my time in San Diego, and it's funny to bring up the triplets and that trade because the triplets will be 20 in about 3 weeks.
Nope.
And it's crazy. Yeah.
No, I don't. I refuse to believe that. I can't. I cannot. I remember back in the day at the original Mighty 1090. I was working the morning show. I think with Scott and Billy Ray, and I think we were so rude as to bother your wife and call her in the hospital after she had the triplets because she has nothing better to do than talk to us idiots. But man, 20 years old. They are. By the way, they are beautiful. They are just.
Thank you.
Your girls and your oldest one, Mia, too, right?
Yep. Yeah,
Mia?
Oldest turned 21 last year. She'll be 22 in December. Yeah, it's. I just love how they continue to grow and get older, and you and I, we just stay the same. We're not going anywhere.
No, and you have the most magnificent head of hair. I'm not sure, by the way, after you hit that home run for the White Sox, oh my gosh, in the World Series, didn't you get like free hair care for life from a gel company or something?
Yeah, I think I took the rest of their product, and then they disappeared. But it was kind of funny because I did that post-game interview after Game 3, and somebody happened to ask me, and I'm like, I'm going to try something. It was like influencing before influencing was cool.
Wow.
And I threw the name out there, Aquage, and all of a sudden I got back to Chicago after that World Series, and there had to be, a 2x2 box full of product. Yeah.
Well, you can tell your 4 girls that you were the original influencers before Instagram and social media and everything else. Before we get into the Houston Astros and the Padres, when that of course starts later on today, I'm going to ask you about a former Cal alum. That would be Aaron Rodgers. Okay, unhappy with the Jets for the way they flew him to New York just to release him or tell him they didn't want him anymore. Jeff, you've been traded and released a few times in baseball, right? What is the protocol? What's the best way? What do you prefer if that's going to happen?
That's kind of interesting, because it's happened several different ways. I got traded from Montreal to Houston, and that felt like I got called up for the second time because going from Montreal, last place in the National League East, and then I got traded to the first place, National League Central, Houston Astros. That was kind of cool. And then when I got traded from Houston to Tampa, I was pissed, and that didn't go well, obviously. And that's probably one of the better, I guess, releasing firings that I've ever had in my life, because the assistant to the assistant to the assistant of the assistant GM's assistant secretary called me.
Oh, awesome.
And it was this kid sounded like he was about 18, internship. Gets on the phone. He's super proper and goes, yes, Mr. Blum, we would just like to thank you for all that you've done for the organization. And keep in mind, I hit 215 for the ball club. I didn't contribute anything. And he's like, but we have to part ways. And I'm like, thank you so much. And I hung up. Fast forward 3 years to the end of 2007, and talking with Kevin Towers again, who was nice enough to bring me back to San Diego in 06 and 07. Yeah. And, I had dreams of continuing my career in San Diego. And he kind of said, with Sandy Alderson had taken over as president of baseball ops, and they were going a different direction. And that one was disappointing, knowing that I wasn't going to come back and be a Padre. But fortunately, I ended up in Houston after that.
Yeah, that one had to be tough. I mean, because also you live close, right? You were living in San Clemente at that time. You and
Yep, so
Corey.
true. Yeah, that was the beauty of playing with San Diego, is that the family aspect of it, and I think the Morris family was in charge of the team at that time. So it was a
Okay.
really wonderful family atmosphere inside the clubhouse, and then obviously with people in the media and around the
Hmm.
city. There were two cities I played in where I actually got recognized, and it was Houston was one of them, and San Diego was the other one, where I just go walking around and people would just be Blummer. So
Yeah.
I always have an affinity for San Diego because of the family aspect.
Yeah, that was a really, really fun team. And by the way, you were a key guy. Do you recognize? I don't have my fancy shelf yet, but do you
Yep.
recognize this dude?
Oh yeah,
Oh
Khalil.
yeah, Khalil Green. Yeah,
Yeah, one of my favorite teammates of all time. Love that guy.
yeah. Real.
And one of the more
He
underrated shortstops of all time, too.
right. The Padres have had a pretty good run on their shortstops, but I kept thinking about how wildly popular Khalil Green was at that time. I mean, he was so much fun. He was so athletic. He was a different dude. The sliding
Hmm.
mats, the yoga, the rap. I mean, I wish if I could find one ex-Padre right now, former Padre, that's the guy. But I
Yes.
have a feeling that Khalil doesn't want to be found. But man, if you ever talk to him, let him know I'm looking for him.
Yeah, trust me. If I cross paths with him, it'll be a nice long conversation, because we were locker mates,
Yeah.
and I knew I wasn't going to play shortstop unless he got brutally injured.
Okay.
Unfortunately, like he did in 2006, but I made a point of taking ground balls with him every day, because just taking ground balls with him, I think,
Hmm.
made me a better infielder.
That's great. Blummer, so this weekend, 15-4 San Diego Padres, the best record in baseball, which is crazy. Not crazy to say. I mean, if you watch them play, it's not surprising at all, versus
Mhm.
the 8-10 Houston Astros. When you look at this Padres team, what jumps out at you? I know you saw them in September when you were in San Diego, but what jumps out about this team?
Well, it's easy to say that the numbers, the pitching has been great. They're
Hmm.
number one, or they're top five offense and pitching. So I think it's
Hmm.
phenomenal they're able to do that. Just that aside, when I think of the San Diego Padres, I really think of athleticism. And it's kind of interesting that you pop these guys up there, because we've got Jose Altuve here, who's moved from second base to left field. But in San
Yeah.
Diego, you basically have groomed every shortstop through this organization and created better outfielders, which is crazy. Jackson Merrill in
Hmm.
center field has been,
Hmm.
he's Gold Glove, Rookie of the Year type talent. And then you've
Hmm.
got Fernando Tatis Jr. moving to right field and becoming platinum. I think it's just a real credit to the athleticism and the way that they have drafted and developed. And I think it's kind of interesting that you start to lose some of these big names like Juan Soto and other guys throughout the course of the last couple of years. Yet this season seems to be a little bit more of a cohesive unit. And from afar, that's really kind of fun to watch. Is watch some hyper athletic guys like a Manny Machado, Tatis,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
Merrill, and these guys really kind of gel together and play well, because the capability of this roster is being exposed right now. It's great.
I would completely agree. And you're talking about the cohesiveness. They didn't always have this. Like when they had
Yeah.
Juan Soto, I mean, it's a point of conversation that I had, I think, at that time with like Nelson Cruz, who they brought in, right? He was that free agent signing. Like, can you have too many big dogs on one roster? And the answer is yes and no. You just have to have the
Mhm.
right crew. And I just don't think Juan Soto did not fit in with Manny Machado and Xander Bogaerts and Tatis. But I think that, the shock of losing the playoffs with that talented roster,
Yeah.
that changed their approach. For whatever reason, they figured out last year. It's carried over into this season. They lost a couple of popular guys in that clubhouse, but man, they have figured something out. It's a very fun roster. And they're doing this. You mentioned Jackson Merrill, without Jackson Merrill, who's
I
staying in
know.
San Diego
Crazy.
with that hamstring. How
Yeah.
are
It's
the
kind of
now?
amazing to think of.
Yeah, yeah. Now, how about those? How about the Astros? 5 straight division titles. They let Alex Bregman go. I'm not sure if they let him go or what that situation, and they traded Kyle Tucker. What are the Astros?
That's a good question. And that was kind of the thing going into spring training and watching how this offseason unfolded, knowing that
Hmm.
Alex Bregman was, seeking more money, eventually got it from the Boston Red Sox. So you just kind of, you kind of clap your hands and say, thanks for everything. And know that Jim Crane, our owner, was not going to go out there and fork out that kind of money. We're right at that threshold of the CBT. He doesn't want to go over it. But then, speaking of Juan Soto and the Kyle Tucker situation, Juan Soto going out there and getting 750 million, 800 million, whatever it is, this crazy number.
Yeah.
I think the next closest guy to a Juan Soto is a Kyle Tucker, who's
Hmm.
in his free agent year. And I think that kind of set the tone a little bit as far as the Astros realizing that this organization has a reputation of not giving guys 10-year contracts, not paying, top market salary. And so that was writing on the wall. And I think that the way that the Angels handled the Shohei Ohtani situation by not trading him and getting a huge haul in return and just letting him go as a free agent kind of spoke to Dana Brown, our GM, a little bit and said, we need to trade Kyle Tucker and get a return on him. And instead of waiting until, middle of the season to see how the season goes or waiting until the trade deadline, he opted to do it in the offseason. And he got pretty good ball players back in return. Hayden Wesneski's been great in the rotation. Cam Smith makes the team at 22 years old. So I think they're still feeling out who they are. And there's some guys that they expect to perform that really haven't stepped up just yet.
Okay, and if you're the Padres, you're hoping it doesn't happen this weekend. By the way, is it Dakin Park? What is this? What is this place? Where are they playing?
It's Dakin Park, and
Dakin
I'm leading. As far as the broadcast crew, I'm leading in messing up and saying minute, getting that part out before I go. Oops, Dakin Park. Yeah. I'm still stuck on Enron, which wasn't it the original name? Wasn't it Enron Field? Wasn't that the first one? Oh yeah, and oddly enough, Enron has actually made a comeback out here somehow. So
really?
that's a whole nother story. Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay, before you came in, I was playing a clip from former Padres closer Josh Hader. So when the Astros came to San Diego back in September, we cornered him. Because when Josh Hader was in San Diego, as you know, he did not want to pitch he wouldn't pitch back-to-back days. He wouldn't pitch more than 3 outs. But of course, that changed almost instantly when he got to Houston. How well? I mean, which I understand, because if you were to, and I know that some of his former teammates were critical of it. Some of them were understanding, but I get it. Listen, if you know that you're not coming back and that's your moneymaker, I get why you wouldn't want to take any chances at all. But how has he fit in so far in Houston?
He's been awesome. Yeah. You got to respect what he did, but at the same time, you wonder what if he would have pitched back to back or given you more outs, then, because he's a guy that's in there to go out there and win games, close out W's. And, it was interesting last year with the Astros slow start, manager Joe Espada really had to go out and hunt wins. So he was burning through his lineup, playing them every single day. And there were games where we were down by 1 or we were tied, and he would bring in the Brian Abreu's and the Josh Haders, and it kind of created a situation where he had to use those guys for multiple innings. And to Josh's credit, he didn't back away. He said, I'm here. You gave me the big contract, 5 years, $95 million. I'll do whatever it takes to help this team win. And he went out there and pitched an exorbitant amount of innings. But it was kind of interesting. The first time he did it, those were the first questions, like, why didn't you do this previously? And that was his explanation. He goes, I was trying to get a contract. I got it. Houston gave it to me, so I'm going to give them everything I've got.
When you're out there today calling these games, I want you to be my spy and let me know if he exchanges pleasantries with any Padres not named pitching coach Ruben Niebla, who of course was great with everybody. But I don't get the sense that there are too many former Padre players, or I'm sorry, that there are any Padres players who feel warm and fuzzy towards Josh Hader. So we'll see how that goes. All right, Let's see. 2 more questions before I let you go, Blummer. If I made you GM for a day and you could pick one player in baseball right now to build your team around, who is that player?
I mean, Shohei Ohtani aside, right?
Yes.
I mean, that might just be the obvious choice. I've become a Jackson Merrill fan. There's certain pitchers out there like a Paul Skeens where I could say, you know what, if we give him a lineup that scores 3 runs a game, he might go out there and win you 20 games. Yeah. So it's kind of tough, but it's also tough when you have a guy like Paul Skeens that only goes out there 33 times a year. No offense to pitchers.
Right.
I think that there's just a little more value in a guy that goes out there and plays every day. And I think, if I know this is a little San Diego centric, and I've kind of checked the numbers and I've appreciated the game from afar, but I just think as far as, high ceilings, athletic on defense, kind of brings the whole package, can steal your bases, play, kind of has that baseball intuitiveness. he seems like he's that guy. And I also like the fact that he's kind of been very personable, because if you're going to start a franchise, you got to have somebody that's going to produce, be athletic, but he's also got to be the face of the franchise. And I think Jackson Merrill's kind of positioned himself in San Diego to be, kind of that face of the franchise that isn't going to shy away from media, isn't going to shy away from good or bad moments, and kind of speak for the team. So I kind of hope to see that the progression of him turns him into that superstar.
Yeah, he's going to be something else. I've never covered a player quite like him who seems to have it all figured out. Maybe it helps that his parents are school teachers. Hey, Blummer, it's such a pleasure to have you on. I mean, he's such a good dude. He's wired right. He says the right things, and he's a joy to watch. Blummer, man, it is so good to see you. I am really envious of your background. I know that I have my Section 51 sign from Jack Murphy Stadium. I have my Khalil Green bobblehead, your former teammate. I have Tony Gwynn, but I don't have like the professionalism that you have. Maybe you can get Corey to come out to PB, and she can help decorate my place, because I'm a complete disaster. But
well, Corey, number one, before she probably tried to design your house, we'll probably hang out with you for a good week and a half, trying to just catch up on all the lost times that we've had. But
I'd love that
and reconnect with that relationship. But yeah, she's phenomenal. This is just a small sample size. What we've got going on downstairs is an absolute, in my eyes, a disaster. But by the time it's done, it's going to be miraculous and a lot of fun to live in. But yeah, she's done a great job. I've just, I have access to basically the bobbleheads and like Lego sets that I built with my girls about 10 years ago. So I'm still holding on tight that my daughters are only, 12 and 13 years old, yet they're in college bar hopping.
You kept I love it. Yeah, tell Corey we'll go bar hopping in PB. All right, before I let you go, I'm going to go ahead. I want to introduce you to my former colleague as a crossover. This is my friend. This is Jonathan Rifkin. We used to work together at 760. That's Jeff Blum, former Padre, White Sox star, hit a memorable home run in World Series history. Jeff Blum, have a great broadcast. Thanks for joining me, and we'll catch up soon.
No, I love it. Great talking to you, Marty. Take care.
Okay. Bye, Blummer.
Bye.
All right. So that was former Padre Jeff Blum, now an analyst with the Houston Astros. One of my favorite people in the world to talk to. J-Riff, I know you missed this conversation, but his wife was like pregnant with triplets when Kevin Towers, then the GM of the Padres, traded him to the Chicago White Sox. So that was, it was amazing. And he's been a great friend of the show and mine and Darren for all these years. So we've kept up, and I love talking ball with him. J-Riff, how are you? How are you doing?
I'm Marty Caswell, from former Padre Jeff Blummer to former Padre J-Riff. No, I'm kidding. But
former
I'm
Padre
good.
J-Riff. Yeah.
I'm good. It's good to be here. It's good to hear your voice. And it's nice to be able to interact with you, not in the YouTube chat.
Oh, I know. Oh, that's right. I know. I haven't seen you. Gosh, I haven't seen you since when? Since November?
Oh, in person?
More than that?
Oh, probably more than that at this point. Probably. I think at one point you popped your head in the studio.
I did.
Maybe in September.
No.
May have been September.
Oh my gosh. Where are you right now? Where are you? Are you in Los Angeles?
I am in my apartment in Hollywood.
Wow.
The records are a little homage. Excuse me. Wow. I'm recovering from a baseball game, and I have two more this weekend, and so you're catching me in the middle of my tea drinking hour.
Got it.
So I apologize for any puberty sounding voice cracks, but in my apartment in Hollywood, just chilling right now. It's gloomy, which is like your preference. So of course I'm on in a gloomy day, but
It's not gloomy. I like the sun. I'm a sun girl. It's gloomy right now. I'm sorry. It's really loud here in Pacific Beach. The leaf blowers are going outside, so I apologize. But listen, I know we're here, of course, that we're busy with the Padres, 15-4 San Diego Padres, which never gets old to say. The NFL draft is a week from yesterday, but the NBA playoffs are beginning, and that's why I'm bringing you on for a few minutes, the time that we do have here. I have had zero time to go ahead and pay attention to the NBA. I know that's your baby. So go ahead. I'm giving you I'm giving you your own time. I'm giving you your own show. What do people need to know about the NBA playoffs as it begins? Go, J-Riff.
Well, first of all, I appreciate it. Second of all, I know that most people don't start paying attention to the NBA. Pay attention to the NBA. Wow, I just woke up, so this is going to be a really fun Rifkin's rant. Until basically tomorrow when the playoffs start. I know there's a couple of play-in games today, but here's really all you need to know. It's between Oklahoma and Oklahoma City and Boston, right?
Boston City.
And I'm not saying this whole thing has been a disaster. I'm not saying that as a Boston Celtic fan. I'm saying that as a pure basketball. I'm I guess, fan, but also from an analytics standpoint, like statistically, they're the best shooting team in the history of the NBA this year, right? Like there's never been a team that has made more threes at a higher clip than the Boston Celtics. They have 3 different players who have hit over 150 threes this season, which is absolutely absurd. They have one of the best benches in the league. Here's the thing, though. Oklahoma City is playing defense at a historic rate. Like what they built was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is one of the best scorers of my generation and maybe going back quite a few generations in the NBA. What they built around him, the ability to stop opposing offenses. Like people talk about how like the NBA sucks because there's no defense and how it's all half court sets and it's ISO basketball and all of these things that college basketball isn't, which is why college basketball is so exciting. And I actually agree with most of it. But that means you're not watching Oklahoma City basketball. If you want to watch hard-nosed defense that mirrors what you see at, with the Aztecs and Brian Dutcher, like that's what the Oklahoma City Thunder brings. So what they're doing is fantastic defensively. They can go out and score 120 points a game and make things really difficult. So my honest opinion is that Oklahoma City is probably going to – the West is not very competitive. Like Denver fired their head coach 2 weeks before the season ended. The Lakers are having some issues with their bench, and Luka's starting to show that he's maybe out of shape a little bit. The Clippers, I apologize that your Clippers are a disaster. Living and dying by James Harden is just not an MO for success. So the West is really not competitive. It's Oklahoma City. People are like, oh, Houston had a fluke in the regular season. And so I think it comes down to the East. Cleveland, Boston, New York are the 3 teams that all could make the championship out of the East. It's probably between Cleveland and Boston. If Cleveland can stay healthy, they have a younger team. They're deep. Donovan Mitchell needs to play well in the playoffs. If he doesn't play well, they're probably screwed unless Darius Garland or Evan Mobley can have historic numbers. So because of that, when you synthesize all the information down, to me, it sounds like Boston is probably going to come out of the East and Oklahoma City out of the West. If that were the case, I'd probably go with Oklahoma City. I think that there's something to be said about youth. Also, it's really difficult to repeat as champions in any sport, especially the NBA. So that's how I feel about the playoffs. I'm not trying to minimize the excitement. Like, go watch the Atlanta Hawks. Go watch the Milwaukee Bucks. Like, anything can happen. But the truth is there's a huge discrepancy between what I think are the top 3 teams and the rest of the field. And in the playoffs, that's typically where you see that discrepancy really come to fruition. So,
okay, really, really quick, because you mentioned, and I know this has been a point of contention since he was traded, but on Luka, you're saying he's starting to show that he is out of shape.
Yeah,
could you elaborate more?
Now, here's the thing. I think that maybe a part of him was saving himself. So there was a stretch of games before the Dallas game last week.
Are you saying load management? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, but it's not the Lakers are trying to load manage Luka. It's almost like self-load management, where like he's sort of choosing when he's going to play defense and when he's going to run back in transition. And because he's a star and because they dumped Anthony Davis in a picks and what have you for him, like he's going to get away with it. The problem is that you're playing with LeBron James. LeBron James is 41 years old, and LeBron James is still like a top 10 player in the NBA right now. It is unbelievable what LeBron has done in the second half of this NBA season. Like, if you're Luka, the fact that you're sort of like half-heartedly playing basketball sometimes, you're taking the fact that you have LeBron James completely for granted. And I think that Laker fans are starting to sense that. But I think that the reason that Luka is picking his spots is because he is saving himself, because he's not quite in the shape that he needs to be to play 100% every single night.
I remember I when he was traded, I know Charles Barkley was a bit critical of that, saying that he and LeBron cannot coexist together. Now, I think he was talking more about their styles than he was about their personality. But do you think that this is something that he was thinking about, just their approach to the playoffs?
How LeBron is an Iron Man and
different level,
and Luka Doncic is an athletic couch potato. It's, I mean, I think that the truth is that LeBron can play with anybody. Like, I'm not a LeBron stan. I do believe he's the greatest player of all time. And yeah, I know I'm the young, annoying basketball fan who never watched Michael Jordan in his prime and all that shit that old people want to say to me. But I truly do believe.
Who says that to you? Did I think about Darren?
Yeah.
Okay.
But like the truth is like the longevity that LeBron, and now the resources, I know in Michael Jordan's era were very different. So if he had his resources, who knows, he might still be playing. But just, given the limited scope that we have, it just feels to me like LeBron's the greatest player. That wasn't your question. I think LeBron could play with anybody. And the conflicting styles are not, like, LeBron is so adaptable. He was still leading his team in assists. He's 4th in the NBA in assists. So like he is okay giving up bucket scoring opportunities if it's going to get his team to a championship. But Luka has to be able to play some freaking defense, man. And he's going to have to play defense. You know, they're not sweeping any of these series. Like, he's going to have to play defense 5 or 6 games a series. And that is going to be, once they get to if they get to the championship, like, they don't really have a bench right now, Marty. Like, I don't know what kind of shape, what kind of version of Luka we'll see. Like, the Mavericks, when they got smoked by the Suns a couple of years ago and he was non-existent, like, we might see that version of Luka again. So I understand the frustration, the concerns that Laker fans and maybe Charles Barkley have.
Okay, good deal. J-Riff, are you satisfied now with your NBA preview, which, by the way, was brought to you by the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players Place? Are you satisfied with that? Do you want to do over of anything else?
I'm satisfied with the last like 75%. Not very happy with the open.
Okay.
Came in a little tongue-tied, but it's okay. I didn't do my vocal warm-ups. Like, I do these vocal warm-up now.
What do you do? What do you do? Look, thanks. That was great. Was that it? Just
no, that was my Darren impression.
Okay.
What I do is, you're gonna ask if I've talked to him?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that. Go ahead. Tell me about your.
So I make all these weird sounds. You're supposed to, like, a big part of, like, speaking and obviously, like, yeah, you want to speak from your diaphragm, but, like, I have a lot of tension in my jaw. Mm-hmm. So something that I was instructed to do to loosen my jaw was to basically spit everywhere. So you it's like what August does. You go, you stick out your tongue and you spit and do all that stuff.
I've just gotten him to stop spitting. So now he can't hang around you. He can't hang around you anymore.
Yeah, no, don't have him do my vocal warm-ups because it involves a lot of spitting. It involves doing some very, like, guttural sounds. And then I have 2 phrases that I say. I say red leather, yellow leather to try and get the tip of the tongue. And then I say, you need unique New York. And I say that really fast. You need unique New York. You need unique New York. And I say that over and over and over again. And those 2 specifically help my body and my brain and my mind and all the stuff get ready to call a game or to come on with you. And I didn't do it, so I was out of practice, and that's why the first 15% sucked. But it's okay.
It's okay. No, it's great. It's great. It's great having you here. I'm glad that you were able to go ahead and dress for the show. I'm just wearing, like, my old faded Eric Weddle Players t-shirt or whatnot. Like, I'm just like, it's overcast today. I have to go pick up August. It's one of those days. But hey, no, have you talked to Darren?
I have not seen Darren since our show got pulled. Like, literally, like, have not seen him at all.
Really?
At all. But we have talked. We go through waves, just like you and I do.
Yes.
I will say, and you can cut this out if you want, he is better at responding. That's okay.
He's better at responding.
He is now. Now, to be fair, I would contend that you're probably more busy than he is, and so maybe he has a little bit more time to respond to me. I know you, Marty. Like, I know you're always go. Well. Maybe I did leave you on red most recently. Okay, so anyway, to answer your question, yes, I've talked to Darren.
Good.
I am now calling professional soccer games, and so
really?
I am. Okay. Yes, I'm for my hometown club, which is very cool, Ventura County FC, which plays in the MLS Next Pro. But they are going.
Good for you, man.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Great.
It's really the team is backed by U.S. soccer legend Kobe Jones, and they have some very rich investors, and they're trying to turn this thing into a place that could potentially be an expansion franchise in Major League Soccer. Okay. So it's awesome. Cool. It's cool to be they get 5,000 fans a game. It's sort of like how the feel of the Loyal at USD, very culturally representative of the community, and everybody's having a great time. There's food trucks and beer, and it's a cool place to be a part part of, especially in my hometown. So maybe one day when Darren gets an off day from SDFC, you'll get a chance to go ahead and you can bring him on as a guest analyst. I've heard him a couple of times, and he's been outstanding. So good for Darren. I think it's something that he was meant to do. J-Riff, you're the man. Thanks for doing this. Maybe you'll be okay. Maybe you can join me again next week. Let's do this. Marty, I would love to.
Yeah, I'm working on my background. I moved from my living room to my kitchen table. I had to buy like a 25-foot Ethernet cord. I'm working on. I have a ton of bobbleheads. I need to get some books. I need to look more professional in the background.
Yeah, you have press credentials. You have books. You have bobbleheads. You have game days. You could really paint. You could paint a picture of your entire career in your background.
Yeah, but I don't want to do that. That's kind of boring. But shoot, it's good to see you. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you.
Let's go ahead and wrap the show. Since you're a professional and you have the voice and you've warmed it up, I want you to go ahead and end today's show as we get ready for the 15-4 Padres and the 8-10 Houston Astros. Don't forget, you can watch all my videos on Marty Time TV. We had Manny Machado. I have a great interview coming up with Michael King, who is the best interview on this planet.
How happy were you, really quickly, just based on a Padres coverage perspective, how happy were you when he didn't leave the team?
Oh, he's like, I'm happy. I mean, Jackson Merrill is like the guy. Like Jackson Merrill never ever changed. I know he's back in San Diego rehabbing that hamstring, but Michael King is a gem. He's just he's a one of a kind dude. They've got to. I hope they find a way to keep this guy. You know, like John Heyman, he always likes writing about, you know, who the Yankees could get. They got, you know, Juan Soto. They should sign Michael King. They traded Michael King. Like, I hope he stays here. He's a guy that there are certain guys that get it. This guy is just, he's a perfect Padre. So hopefully they can get something done. And
one more thing really quickly. One of my greatest things now is that I stand the Padres in Los Angeles. Everybody's like, oh, are you a Dodger fan? I'm like, absolutely fucking not. I am a Padres fan. You can deal with it or not deal with it. The door's over there. The trash is over there. Pick one of those and leave me alone. But it has been some of the most fun I've had to be a Padres fan in LA.
It's a blast. By the way, speaking of the Padres, when they do play the Dodgers up in Los Angeles,
yes,
I need you and Jenna to watch August so I can cover those games. Also, can we stay on your couch?
You can. We have a queen size air mattress that you can use.
Really? Okay.
Yes, absolutely, very comfortable.
Okay.
I'm 15 minutes from Dodger Stadium.
Wow.
The answer, if the dates work out, is yes, we can do all of that.
Great. That's the whole reason you're on. All right, JRiff.
I got it. You wanted to see what you were getting yourself into by bringing me on. You actually really want to take a lay of the land.
Do I want to stay there so I get a hotel?
Do I like any of those records?
I find the Spring Hill Suites? I know.
Yeah,
all right, my friend. It's great to see you. I will text you
buddy.
back immediately the next time. Thank you for doing this. And also thanks to Jeff Blum. He is the man. I love him. We're brought to you by the all-new Jamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. We made it to Friday. It's overcast, but the weekend is here, and I'm so excited. Yes. All right, everybody. Enjoy a delicious beer, glass of wine, a water, kombucha, whatever your thing is, and we will talk to you on Monday. Bye, everybody.